What's going on, guys? If you refer to this video from my live stream, then that's kind of weird. I don't know why I would. I was kind of, I was just kind of on the website. I'm not really active on 10 gauge or whatever. It's not really just my thing, I guess. But it is, I think it's a good place to be able to express opinions about the reality TV shows that I'm too embarrassed to tell people that I watch, but I'm sure a lot of them watch it anyway, so it's all chill. So I just wanted to vlog, um, and just guys say my opinions on Survivor. I'm actually a live streamer if you didn't know. I stream video games part time, just for fun. It's my thing. So I'm not really camera shy, I guess. So if I'm awkward, then it's just because I'm a nerd. But anyway, so I usually post updates in terms of like just blogging, but I feel like this is kind of more of a, it's kind of more of like a, that sort of thing. So yeah, starting off, the people I like this season right now. This has changed pretty drastically actually since the last preview for the next time on Survivor. It's changed a fair amount since that. But basically, I'd say my favorites are Joe, um, Tyler, and Mike. Jen and Hallie would have both been actually before Joe and Mike, but Hallie was voted out, so she's not on the list. And the only reason Jen actually recently faltered down for me was because I saw the preview and they were acting like she was going to quit. And I can't, you guys don't understand, man. I'm such a fan of the game that if someone says that they're going to quit, even just talks about it, even doesn't actually do it, even if they're contemplating quitting this once in a lifetime opportunity, it really just rubs me wrong. It really does. It aids me with a lot of players in the past that I previously really liked, and I don't have an exception for that rule. But that being said, if it turns out to just be some editing trick, Jen will still be number one. Obviously, she owns, man. Like, who else could say "fuck you"? I fucking hate you to Rodney. That owned, man. So, and now to people I hate. Speaking of Rodney, people I hate. Rodney's a given. He's just, he kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. And when I look at him, I just think of like a harasser. Like if I saw him on the street, I feel like I'd be kind of spooked. He looks like a snake to me, like a mixture of a groundhog and a snake, like an actual snake though, and a groundhog because he's actually kind of weird looking at the same time. Um, Dan, if there were to be a book on how not to play Survivor, it would just be a compilation of the confessions and the interactions Dan has had the entire season. He's so bad. Oh my god. It's a shit show and a half, man. That dude, he said at the beginning of the season in his preseason interview, you're either gonna love me or you're gonna hate me, but at least you're gonna remember me. I don't think he realized how much people are gonna hate him, but sure, yeah. He's just kind of a sexist asshole at the end of the day. But he's gonna be remembered for it for a little bit until next season, probably. So good for him. He did what he said he was gonna do. Kelly, I actually forgot about her. I'm not gonna lie, dudes. I totally when they were doing the last immunity challenge, I was like, who's that tall blonde girl? Who is she? And she was actually, for what it's worth, she was getting an edit before. I don't think it's necessarily the fault of the editors. I think there was just a lapse of a couple episodes where she didn't get a confessional, and I forgot about her. Kelly, I was hoping she'd surprise me and vote with the no callers. She didn't. I was a little pissed. Um, so Kelly lost, in that moment lost, I think, my respect. I think she just kind of proved to just be sheepish. I think she would have had a better time in the game in general if she went with the no callers. I think from a game standpoint, not just from a dance and asshole standpoint, from an actual game standpoint, I really feel like that Women's Alliance could have kind of had a Micronesia feel to it, fans versus favorites, Parvati Alliance feel to it, and I think they could have ran it honestly, and with the help of Joe, and then hopefully getting him out, maybe in even a similar Eric situation, Joe in this case being the Eric. Joe and Mike, I just want to touch real quick on my favorites, which those are them. My favorite part about them is that they're at opposite ends of alliances, but I still like them both. So at least no matter what happens, I think there's still going to be someone cool to root for. I really, really appreciate, like, honestly, I was kind of like half and half on Mike. I was kind of like, well, I wasn't quite sure about him is the point. But during that whole idol scene, man, that was epic, dude. When he was searching for that idol, like, and he was on, you know that feeling, man. It was so relatable, the feeling of trying so hard and getting so frustrated. But at least for me, when I get to that point, it's just like I kind of call it quits at that point, man. But he really showed his blue collar work ethic, and he just like he really impressed me, man. And when he found the idol, that moment where oh, that was intense, bro. Joe, I feel like is just a really chill guy. He's the typical all American, like even Rodney said. The one time I can agree with Rodney, the typical Survivor player. He has the same build as Malcolm. He's a likable guy, and he is a challenge beast, man. 3 for 3. That is insane, dude. Sorry, I was just reminded of the whole Dan like, I got it, Jeff. Outlot, outlast. Anyway. Joe is a beast. Who am I forgetting right now? I touched on Jen. I'm trying to think of who's in the blue collar lines. Oh, I haven't touched on the white collars. Shirin. I think I've touched on everyone except Shirin, Tyler, and Carolyn, or Mama C, as they call him. So, Shirin, I've actually grown to like a little bit more. Basically, when Jen was against Shirin, I too was, but maybe it's just kind of like my attractive girl goggles kicking in there. I didn't like Shireen. It's pronounced one way or the other. Now I understand why they're having trouble pronouncing your name. Shireen or Shirin. I didn't like her when Max was in the game because I felt like Max was just kind of like, he's a character that's been there before in that, I'm naked, I'm Richard Hatch, But also, I felt like he just lost track of the game at some point. Like, why did when he went all super fan with Shireen, it was bad. Like, hold up, bro. I just wanted to say that. It was cringe, man. It was a little cringe for me, man. And, I can appreciate the super fan, but never go full super fan, man. Never take it to that next level, bro. Anyway, that was my side on Max. So Shireen has gotten better for me lately. She's quirky. That whole interaction with Jeff at the Immunity Challenge was great, I thought. Caroline was one of my early favorites. When she found the idol, I was hyped as fuck, man. But we haven't seen much of her. It's again, I think this is the editor's fault. Whoever's editing is kind of making it apparent that she's probably not going to make it that much further in the game. Probably not going to be that relevant. Which is sad because she was sizing up, I think, to be a really cool character. She still has the idol. For those of you guys who don't remember, and I was one of them who didn't remember, she has the idol in her pocket right now. Tyler, man, he's the guy that I'd put money on Tyler either being a repeat season, making some huge moves, man. I think Tyler's going to be just huge in this game. And I feel like I have sort of a sixth sense for this Survivor thing at this point, just being really observant in my own life. Watching the way the editors are portraying Tyler as sort of a kind of a snake in the background who's just kind of chilling. He's doing exactly what I think people should do on Survivor. And if I was ever on Survivor, that's what I would do, man. He's that smart guy. He's in the background. He's not at the forefront of everyone's thoughts, which is great. If you see it in winners in basically any Survivor style, Big Brother style game, the ones who generally win are the smart guys in an alliance. They're not the bottom, but they're not the top. They're not the guys who are immediately going to be out. I think what Tyler's going to do, and I think we're actually going to see this maybe even in the next episode with Caroline, is kind of flip-flop back and forth between the no collars and the blue collars, allowing themselves to eventually. So say next vote they take out Dan. We can all, we're all hoping, but let's say they take out Dan next vote. The vote after that, maybe let's take out Joe. They take out Joe. And then they go back. This is Mama C, as they call her, and Tyler going back and forth. That's pretty much the way I think Survivor should be played. And people say you lose trust, but at the end of the day, if they're your option, if they're the only thing that they can trust, if you're the only thing they can trust, it usually doesn't work. You're usually always the swing vote. Very rarely in Survivor has the swing vote been AIDS. It's happened a few times. Matt comes to mind. Sarah from Kyagan, Tony season comes to mind as well. But I think generally the flip-floppers who go back and forth and vote with the way they vote, like vote with the people who are less than the majority, and then those people become the majority. Okay, well they're the majority. I'm at the bottom of this alliance. I'm going to flip again and become the majority with the other alliance. And before you know it, you flip-flop so much that it's the final four, and you're 2 of 4. Suddenly, it's evened up. But not only that, the other two remaining are a blue collar and a no collar, and you're the two white collars. They come to you. You don't go to them. Basically, that's what I think Tyler's going to do with the help of Caroline and the Idol. I think it should be an interesting season. I really do like this season right now. I think it's pretty great. They really did a good job casting the season, that's for sure. We have people to hate, we have people to love, multiple people to hate, multiple people to love. It's always a good way to do it. Thank you guys for sitting through this rant. Unless you just came here to see what I look like, which is what I always do when people do vlogs on this site. Yeah, peace out, guys.